Hello boys and girls, Busternaut here and welcome to World of Tanks. Today we're taking a look at the German tier 10 heavy tank, the E-100. So before we start, this is my first tier 10 in this game that I got, and from the beginning I didn't like it, but after I unlocked the Top Gun, the 150mm, I should say that this thing is a very good tank indeed. So before we take a look at the stats, let's see where this tank is located on the tech tree. It is right here, and it is one of the two German tier 10 heavy tanks, the other one being the Mouse, which is famous for having very nice all-round armor, and the E-100 is the same as the Mouse. You know, it's a super heavy tank and it's very well armored indeed. So to get to the 100 you must grind the German heavy tank line, and it is pretty good line. As I told you, this was my first tier 10 vehicle and I had to grind through this line when I was noob in the game, and I should say that the line is very good indeed. Well, I didn't grind through this tank. I grinded recently to go to the medium tank line, but I grinded through the Panzer IV, and then after tier 6, you know, it's just heavy tanks, and from tier 7 and on it becomes a very nice line. The Tiger one is very good tank once you unlock the Top Gun. It's pretty painful stock grind, but you can get over it, and once you get the Tiger 2, it's then again very nice tier 8 heavy tank. The stock grind is not bad because you get the Top Gun from the Tiger 1, and again pretty nice tier 8 heavy tank. Then you get the E-75, which is probably the best tank in the game tier for tier. I love this tank. This is my favorite tank in the game at this point. That's why I'm keeping it, as you can see. And then at the end you get the 100. So let's now take a look at the stats of this vehicle. The 100 has 2700 hit points, which is a lot. You can take some serious damage in this tank, and using your armor, if you use your armor correctly, you can absorb quite a lot of the enemy fire. It weighs 130 tons with the current equipment I'm using on this tank. As I told you, it is a super heavy tank, so you should ram when you have an opportunity. Well, probably the only tank that you shouldn't ram is the Mouse. So yeah, the engine power is 1200 horsepower, but this tank, as I mentioned, is super heavy, and this weight really doesn't allow it to go very fast. Its top speed is 30 kilometers per hour, which is not very good, but it's not terrible either. It is much better than the Mouse, and overall pretty decent speed for that heavy machine. The traverse speed is 22 degrees, which is pretty bad, but considering the weight of this tank, it's normal. And then we get to the armor. This stat is where the tank shines. The frontal hull is 200mm thick. The side armor of the hull is 120mm thick, and the rear is 150mm thick. The turret has 250 on the front, 150 on the side, and 150 on the rear. We're going to take a look at the armor better in a second. Now let's take a look at the gun choices that are available in this tank. The stock gun is the 128mm KWK-44L55, which you get on the E-75 as a top gun and on the Mouse. This gun has 4.2 rounds per minute rate of fire, with an average penetration of 246 with AP, 311 with APCR, and the average damage is 490. The accuracy 3 0.38 and the aiming time 2.9. So I really disliked this tank because of that gun. On tier 9 it's a brilliant gun, but on tier 10 it's a really underwhelming gun. But this is the top gun, the 15 centimeter KWK L38. It has 3 rounds per minute rate of fire, which is pretty bad, but considering the high caliber and the high alpha damage of this gun, it's really balanced. The penetration is 235 millimeters with AP rounds, so that is the downside of this gun. This penetration is extremely low for tier 10 heavy tank, but then again, the caliber of the gun and the huge alpha damage would make it very overpowered if it had something like 260 millimeters of penetration. The heat, however, has 334 millimeters of penetration. That is the gold ammo for this gun, or the premium shells, I should say. The alpha damage is 750 with AP and heat, and 950 with HE. The HE has 85 millimeters of penetration, so you can take advantage on the Waffenträgers and the light tanks which you meet. You will do a lot of damage and you will penetrate your HE rounds. And the high caliber of this gun makes it possible to shoot HE rounds at something that you cannot penetrate, like side scraping IS-7 for example. Now the accuracy is 0.4, which is pretty mediocre, but then again, this gun is not for long range, it's for close to medium range brawling. The aiming time is 2.9, which is pretty bad as well, but you know, at close range this gun performs really nice. Now let's see the equipment which I'm using. So I am using ventilations because it's pretty nice for the crew, and you know, overall you are not going to get it wrong if you put ventilation on your heavy tank. The next thing, vertical stabilizers, because the aiming time of this gun is pretty bad and this really helps the accuracy. And the third option, of course, large caliber gun rammer, because of the poor rate of fire of this gun. This is the standard equipment for aggressive playstyle when you want to play aggressive in this tank. Now as the consumables, I recommend automatic fire extinguisher because it lowers the chance to get set on fire, but the previous patch, the German tanks from tier 8 to tier 10 got massive buff, and it was, now before this patch, it was able to set the German tanks on fire by firing at the lower plate. Now you can still damage the engine of the tank, but you can no longer set on fire any German tank from tier 8 to tier 10 with firing at his lower plate, which is, you know, very nice thing. You no longer are set on fire that often with your E-100, which is very nice for this tank. Now as far as the crew skills are concerned, this is my E75 crew. As you can see, I played a lot in the E75, and the E-100 gets one extra loader, so if you have brothers in arms, it is not going to be available until this one reaches 100% of the brothers in arms as well, which is pretty annoying because as you can see, I'm having brothers in arms on my older crew, and now it's not doing anything. And really on the commander, I recommend the, well, let's see what I have put there on the commander. I have put recon because it is pretty nice skill which you know, allows you to get higher view range, which is not that bad. On the driver, I got the perk for the critical hits. I got clutch braking on my driver because the traverse speed, as we mentioned earlier, is pretty bad. On the radio operator, that one skill which improves the view range, and on the loader I have safe storage. On the other one, of course, I'll put adrenaline rush. And repairs. First skill, always put repairs on a heavy tank, because you're going to get tracked a lot as you're side scraping, and it's overall a very important skill. 6 cents for the commander, it's always nice to have, but it's not that not recommended, you know, but really nice perk to have. It allows you to know when you are spotted, so that's pretty neat. So the first game we are playing on Ensk, which is a pretty cool map. I really like this map, and it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. It just has something for everyone, and it's overall pretty nice map. So we are heading for the town. That's the usual heavy tank position, and as you can see, my ammunition load, it's 20 AP rounds, 10 heat rounds, and 20 HE rounds. Now, I don't think that the penetration on this gun is that bad, and I don't think you need to use heat all the time to be competitive. So that's why I'm loading AP and not heat from the start of the battle. We are going to side scrape at this corner, and we get spotted, so I know that there's an enemy tank, and this SU-101 just has pretty bad day. He bounces off, and the alpha damage of this gun is just brilliant, and takes him out really effectively. As you can see, the penetration is not problem, and if you're firing at tier 8 tank destroyers, it is even less of a problem. Now, not any enemies are spotted from the front, so we advance to help the Tiger too, but then again we spot this Foch 155. We put one into his side, which is paper thin, and we pull back. I don't want to get clipped by that Foch 155, but luckily for me he's more interested in the Tiger 2, which dies, and I have this side again. I managed to pen the Foch and track him. The T-54 takes a shot at my side, but doesn't penetrate me, and I shouldn't be afraid of this angle from a T-54. Even firing heat, he cannot penetrate me. So I'm pretty confident. As you can see, I'm angling my turret as well, because flush your turret is not good enough to bounce gold rounds from other tier 10 vehicles, but this T-54 cannot really penetrate me even with gold. If I'm angling, of course. I bounce both the lava and the T-54, and as the T-54 is giving me his lower plate, I'll take this shot any day of the week. We bounce, I believe, a hit round with the angled turret. There you can see that this tank, when you're fighting lower tiers than you, it's just superior. And the lava is giving me his side flush, so why not take this shot as well. And as you can see, I'm not having any trouble with firing AP at this point. But then again, I'm fighting only tier 8s and 9s up to this point. There is the lava again. Bounces one more shot of my armor, and not attempting to angle at all, so I put another one in his side. Now I see that the E-100 is advancing, and he takes out the T-185 from our team. Now I have loaded an AP round. I'll have trouble, but the bar on the top of the turret, which I forgot to mention, is a weak spot on the E-100, and you will want to take advantage of it. As you can see, I managed to penetrate it even with that gun, which is not very accurate, and he bounces off. Oh, so yeah, that bar there, you can see it at the top of the turret, is a weak spot, but shoot it at the center, not at those parts which are sticking out, because they are not hitboxes. As you can see, someone hit me there, but I bounced the shot. So I'm advancing forward. I'm loading heat now to guarantee a penetration on the E-100, because with AP it's not guaranteed penetration if he's angling good. This is a very stupid shot. Don't do this ever. I fire heat at the side of the E-100, which has spaced armor, and the heat is garbage against spaced armor. So don't do this ever again. That was a very noob shot. More likely I should have aimed for the lower plate, as I'm doing right now. He aims for the top of the turret, as I told you that's a weak spot, but he manages to hit me in the viewport, as you can see, not in the bar. And I load an HE round for the IS-7 because he's a one-shot kill for HE. This gun has very strong HE ammo. I take a shot, but it doesn't matter. And I take him out. I don't want to risk with gold rounds because the IS-7 has nice spaced armor and he can bounce. So the IS-4, I load an AP round for him. I ram him, as you can see. Because the roof of the turret is very weak. I'm able to penetrate this like no problem whatsoever. When you're a higher tank, always face hug IS-4s and just fire at the roof of the turret. It just makes it so easy to pan the IS-4. So the Jagdpanzer E-100 just bounces off the side of my turret and I kill him with AP. I managed to penetrate the lower plate of the Jagdpanzer E-100. The Waffenträger Panzer IV manages to put a shot in my side, but it bounces. I'm aiming, not quite reloaded, and he manages to get out. It would be nice if I sneak a shot in the Waffenträger, but not really gonna happen. And my team takes him out. So that was the first game which we had in the E-100. And now let's see the post-game results. 142 experience, first class mastery, not quite enough to get the ace tanker. 91,000 credits made. This time there was an event and I had the premium account for some reason. As you can see, we managed to do 6,984 damage and pick up 4 kills, 1,114 base experience with high caliber steel wool. Our armor held up very well indeed, by damage blocked by armor 4,280. So yeah, we made a profit of 60,000 even though we fired some heat rounds in this game, but we managed to fire mostly AP rounds. So let's get into the next. So final game for today, and we're playing on El Haluf. As you can see here, not one of my favorite maps, but they reworked it recently, which made it a lot better in my opinion. Before it was just a very bad map. So yeah, we're going to go at the usual heavy tank location at A1. Before, this location was used by the heavy tanks as well, but you didn't have almost any cover from artillery, and so this wasn't a very nice position because of that. So there you can see the speed of the E-100. It's not the slowest tank. As you can see there, the mouse, poor mouse, he's struggling even downwards. So here we are on even ground, on flat ground. As you can see, 30 kilometers per hour in no problem this tank can reach. So it's not a painful tank to drive, like for example the Jagdpanzer E-100 is pretty slow, and the mouse is obviously there at the back. So it is an encounter mode, and yeah, we are driving up this hill, and as soon as I saw, you see me here doing something. Now I will preload a heat round for this fight, because look at the enemy team. They have 2 E-100s, IS-4, 2 IS-7s and a mouse. So if I meet those tanks, it's quite unlikely that I'm going to penetrate with my AP if they are angling good. So I preload high explosive anti-tank shell. There I'm aiming for the turret of the E-100. Quite unfortunate bounce, the shell went to the left and up, and it hit the side of the turret. I didn't really enjoy that shot at all. This should have been a clear pen on the E-100 there. Now we can see the mouse. I don't get this shot because it's pretty risky. I can hit my teammate, but I penned the IS-8 there, and he tells me "fuck you" in the chat. It's always nice to see people raging after we kill them. I rage as well, but never in the chat. It's very stupid to rage in the chat. And the mouse was angling pretty nice there, so I didn't fire. Those heat rounds are pretty expensive, so I don't like to waste them. Now I'm going to go here and help out my teammates because they are struggling with the enemies. This tank has pretty good armor if you angle it, so I'm going up front. And I'm spamming heat, so yeah, that's pretty nice combination when you have armor and penetration. So that's the enemy 100. You can see the turret. Bam! Like a butter, right through. This penetration with the heat rounds is more than enough to go through the turret of the E-100, so always angle your turret when you are at this tank. Now this shot will penetrate in day of the week. So I take the IS-4 out as well. Now, as you can see, I'm always angling my turret, and I'm not giving the enemies nice shots, so they're firing at the tanks which are behind me. You could argue that they cannot see me as well because I'm behind that rock, but then again, it's not a pretty terrible position to be in. Again, right through the turret front, he's not angling, so thanks for the free damage there, I guess. And due to the nice alpha damage we have, we've done 3000 damage, and the game hasn't even started yet. So the T-124, easy kill there on the side. It was a risky shot because I'm firing heat, and I managed to pen the E4 through the track, but I took that risk because you know, I don't know why. It's a valuable kill there, and you'll see me doing reverse side scraping here because I'm too lazy to turn my tank around, and they cannot see my rear, so it's not a pretty terrible idea to do this kind of reverse side scraping. As you can see, my rear is behind this stone. I don't recommend it in normal terms, but as I'm too lazy to turn my tank, it's pretty nice option. And the 100 exposes the turret again, and I'm quite happy to take him out. Now I fired only heat up to this point, and after this I'm preloading an AP round. I just want to make sure that this last hit goes through, and as you can see, I penetrate the weak point of the 100 there. It wasn't intentional, I was aiming for the turret, but the shot went into the weak point. I could have penetrated with AP as well, but my intention was to fire the turret anyways, so that's that. Now the 100 misses the shot. It goes through my tracks, and I miss the T-30, but the T-30 penetrates me right in the turret because the T-30 has very punchy gun which can go through your turret, and if he's firing APCR, then it can go even more reliably. And I load an HE round, and I smash him right in the front of the turret because I can. He was on 25 health only, and you see me there using HE very you know, this was a useful thing to have in the 100. As well as the previous game, I took out the IS-7 on low health. When you have enemies on such low health, it's always good to carry a few HE rounds. And a lot of E-100 drivers fire nothing but HE because they don't want to give money for the high explosive anti-tank ammo, and They don't like the penetration of the AP ammo, but I don't recommend you spamming only HE, because you're not going to do very well. You should have very nice ammunition sense in this tank. You can see me constantly changing between AP, heat and HE in those battles, and that's really important thing in the E-100, to have available ammo types to choose. I missed the shot on the T95 and I'm firing HE. I don't want to spam any more gold, and with HE I can still do some pretty nice damage because of the high caliber of the gun on the E-100. I'm still aiming for the weak spots because I can do more damage, and boom, 400 damage from splashing only. This is quite a lot. And I can get the kill here, but the game will throw me pretty bad. Let's see. I don't even know where the shot went. It went behind the T95 and I'm like, what the fuck in the chat. I'm not happy with this shot, but there we go, the T95 is dead, and we managed to win this game as well. So let's go ahead and see the post-game stats. We managed to pick up 5,538 experience for our daily dabble and 89,800 credits. We managed to do 5,100 damage, and even though it was 2,000 less from the previous game, we got more XP because we were shooting at tier 10s. And we got 5 kills, 1,231 base experience, which is enough for an ace tanker. And even though we spammed heat a lot, we even made a profit of 28,000 credits, which wouldn't be possible without the premium account, which I'm not sure why I had at this time, but there we go. The armor held up nicely, 1,500 damage blocked by armor, but then again we didn't get shot that that often in this game. So there we go, that's the E-100 for you. Very nice tier 10 heavy tank. I highly recommend getting one of those. It's very fun to play once you unlock the 150mm gun, and just overall very enjoyable tank to grind. As I mentioned before, the line is pretty fun as well to play the lower tier heavy tanks, and yeah, it's definitely worth grabbing this tank. This will be for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, thumbs up the video below. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments. If you're new to the channel and want to see more, go ahead and subscribe, and good luck on the battlefield.